Hi, this is Daryl, and I want to thank you for taking time to view this video. We're going to get right to the content, but I quickly want to go over what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover 10 concepts you need to know. This is the Gospel Essentials Masterclass. Today we're going to be in the key of C. The first section we're going to cover essential scales. Then in part 2 we're going to cover primary chords. Part 3 we're going to cover diatonic chords. Part 4 we're going to cover chord progressions. Part 5, we're going to cover the 1 to 4 walk up. In part 6, we're going to cover the 3 to 5 walk up. In part 7, I'm going to show you the classic gospel introduction movement. Part 8, we're going to cover some basic preacher chords. Part 9, we're going to do the 2 to 5 gospel walk up. And then in part 10, we're going to talk about basic shout music. So let's get ready to go. We have a lot to cover. I want you to pay attention below this video. Somewhere on this page, you're going to see timestamps just in case you want to jump around this video. You'll also be able to download it off the page, as well as in your email. You'll be able to see where the download is just in case you want to watch this training offline. So without further ado, let's get started with part 1. Okay, so here we go. It's 10 things that you need to know. The first part is going to be on scales. You need to know your scales. And let's just go ahead with the key of C. You need to know the C major scale, and you need to know it. So you shouldn't guess on it. You should know the major scale. You should know the note C, D, E, F, G, A, B, or in the next octave on C, which is so you need to know those notes, but you need to know the number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you're back at the 1, or we can call this 8 for the octave. Okay, so you need to know that major scale. I can't stress that enough. Knowing that the scale is the building block for everything. You know, it's how we can build chords by knowing the scales. We can communicate with other musicians by knowing the numbers, calling out. We're in the key of C. We tell a bass player you need to play the 2. The bass player, if he knows his numbers, she knows her numbers, is going to know the 2 is D. You know, going to know the 5 is G. We're going to know the 3 is E if we're in the key of C. So knowing that major scale, knowing the notes, and knowing the numbers are so important. Another piece of that is important that I'll cover in this video, and I've covered in other videos, but know the fingering. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here, but we're going to start with the thumb. We're playing our right hand. We're going to come under on the F, so we're going to cross under for the F, and then we have enough fingers to go back to all the way up to that C. So we go like this. That finger is very important, so you want to know that. Now, if we want to go into other octaves, we just basically, for each octave, we want to keep our thumb on the C and on the F. All right, so that's basically the general rule of thumb for that right hand. So we'll do something like this. We want to keep going, so we'll cross our thumb under on the C, cross our thumb under on the F, and that's how we pretty much string it along. And we'll do the same thing going down. We want to keep our thumb on the F and the C. We want to cross over this ring finger, so we have enough fingers. 2, 3. See how that looks? Then our thumb is on the F. All right, so that's a basic, real quick overview of your fingering of your right hand. Let me real quickly get to this left hand for the fingering of the major scale. The difference is that we want our thumb on the G. Okay, we want our thumb on the G. Okay. Big difference with the left hand, and then we'll do the same principle if we want to keep going. We'll just keep our thumb on the C, same thing, thumb on the G, and that's how we string them along. Excuse me. Okay, So that's just a real quick look at fingering, but I'll make sure that you at least get this fingering in the key of C. I'll probably show you the video that I did on that. That's kind of beyond the scope of this training, because I want to get to your minor scale. Okay, so basically there are actually a couple different minor scales, but I want to show you this one, which is pretty much like playing the major scale of the relative minor of C. So a relative of C would be the minor third. So you got 1, 2, 3. You want to make that minor, you flatten the third. That means you go down. So basically we're going to play an E flat scale, but we're going to start on the C. So it'll look like this. That's the C minor scale, okay? So let me give you those notes. C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. And that's a very important skill. You want to know that. You want to have that. It's just something that you can use for a lot of different things. You can use it for runs. If you're playing a C minor groove, you want to be able to kind of execute that. But a lot of people ignore the minor scale, but it is important for your gospel playing. So you want to have the major scale, you want to have the minor scale. Remember that the short trick to it is that for this particular one, we're just going to play the major scale of the relative minor, but we're going to start on our 1. So we're in the key of C. The minor third is E flat. We're going to play, basically we're playing an E flat major scale, but we're starting on the C, which makes it that C minor. Okay, and that's something that you definitely want to have. The other thing that's so important to have is your blues scale. You need this. You really need this in the key of C. So let me just show you these notes. Okay, so you have C, E flat, F, G flat, G, B flat, C. And you need this scale because this scale is used for a different reason. A lot of people think that it's just bluesy. We definitely use it in bluesy situations when we're playing something churchy, but we also use it if we're playing like a nice, I'll even use this like a neo soul type of groove, or like a like a smooth groove. You know what I'm saying? I'm playing something like a minor feel. You know, it's just something that's really nice to have and to execute once you get it. So you want this you want this blues scale. So you want to work that out. Let me just show you just a real quick fingering that I'll use. A real quick fingering would just be to primarily use these two fingers. So you can use C, E flat, cross your thumb onto that F, your index finger on the G flat rather, thumb on the G, and pointer finger on the B flat, and then you have that C. So that's a real quick way to do it. One of the things I like to do is I like to use maybe my ring finger, or I should say my middle finger on the C sometimes. I'll do something like this. And really it all depends on how I start the scale. I might use different fingers. You want to use whatever is comfortable for you. But that little fingering I gave you is one that's, is one that a lot of people use. It's kind of using these two fingers. You can also do something like this. Starting with this ring finger. Middle finger on the B flat, thumb on the G, thumb, ring, thumb, or I should say thumb, index, thumb, and you can play that again, But I'm kind of showing you just like different ways of playing the fingering, because there is no, this is exactly how you play it. I like to, use whatever's comfortable, but I will say, You don't want to get into a habit of only using pet fingers. This is for any sort of scale, you know. So I can literally run that scale using any finger that I want to, because I practice different options and I practice different variations. So if I needed to use my pinky, I can use that. If I needed to use this finger, I can use that. I can use whatever finger I need to execute whatever I'm trying to execute, because I might start to scale off in different places. But wanted to give you that. It's very important that you have these scales if you're going to start to improve your overall sound. You want to get it in all 12. These scales, very important place that you need to be starting. All right, so in the key of C, not only do we want to look at scales, but we want to look at our primary chords. And I always talk about these 4 chords that I think are so important. That's the major chord, the minor chord, the augmented chord, and the diminished chord. So let's take a look at these chords in triads first. So basic triad is the 1, the 3, and the 5 of whatever key you're in. Okay, so we're in the key of C. If we know the scale, which we talked about first, 1, 3, 5. So you want to know that. So that's your C triad. The next chord is your minor chord, your minor triad, which is your 1, your flat 3, and your 5. So 1, 3, flat to 3, that'll be E flat, and then 5. All right. So that is your C minor chord. So you have your C major, you have your C minor. What is a diminished chord? A diminished chord is where we flat the 3 and we flat the 5. So let's say 1, you flat the 3, flat the 5. It's your basic C diminished chord. And then your augmented chord is where we raise the 5. That means we raise the 5 a half step. So you got 1, 3, 5. We want to make that augmented. We raise it, and that's your C augmented chord. So let's go through our primary chords, our C primary chords. Want to be able to execute these. I've just explained to you very briefly, very quickly, which is enough information, how to build these chords. If you want to build a major triad, it's a 1, 3, and a 5. You want to build a minor triad, 1, flat 3, 5. You want to build a diminished triad, it's a 1, flat 3, and a flat 5. You want to build a augmented triad, it's a 1, it's a 3, and it's a raised 5th. All right. So you want to know these primary chords. You want to be able to execute them. But not just do you want to know these chords, you want to know their inversion. So let's quickly talk about inversions. So we have the C, the C major chord. To invert the chord, we would just take this C that's on the bottom right now and we put it on the top. So this is C major in first inversion. Now if we want to invert it again, we would take this E and we would put this E on top. That is second inversion. So the first one is C in root position, because we pretty much got the bass at the bottom. Next one is C, first inversion, C second inversion. You want to be able to execute this. Okay, so you want to talk about playing in all your keys. Let me show you this real quick why that's so important. Especially when you get on a big level, when you're playing big chords. Let's say I'm playing this D minor 9 in my left hand. Well, understanding C inversion, I just added so much color to that chord. It's a minor 9. I'm turning it into a minor 11 just by playing a C major chord up top. And when I know my inversions, whatever the melody of the song is, I can play that with, by using the correct inversion. And it adds an overall touch to your playing. Now you can't get there until you can really do this. And And that's why that's so important. So that's your C major triad, C major triad with inversions. Let's just go to C minor real quick. These are the primary two. You want to know the major triad and the minor triad inversions. So minor triad, same principle. This is a root position. First inversion, where you just take the C, instead of playing it there, you're going to play it up top. And then instead of this E flat at the bottom, we're going to play the E flat up top. And we have that right there. So you want to get this, okay? And you want to have that, you know, pretty much in all of your keys, and it's so important that we, you know, get this in the key of C. Now we talked about the triads. Let's just talk about the 7 voicing. Okay, so let's play a let's play a C major 7. Okay. This is a C major 7. You want to have this. You want to know what this is. And you want to know the difference between a C major 7 and a C dominant 7. A C major 7, we're going to play the 7 major. So we have the B, which is within the context of the key. Now, if we wanted to play that same C chord with a dominant 7, that just means we flat the 7. So instead of playing that B natural, we'll play the B flat. And that gives us our C dominant 7 chord. Okay, so it's very important that you kind of understand that. We talk about primary chords, you need to know that. So how do we play a C diminished 7 chord? Well, we're going to flat the 3 and we're going to flat the 3rd. I mean, we're going to flat the 3rd, we're going to flat the 5th rather. So the 3rd of C is an E, the 5th is a G. So we're going to flat the 3rd and we're going to flat the 7. Okay, so that's the 3rd, that's the 7. We're going to flatten those two. And that gives us our C minor 7. All right, so excuse the mistake I made earlier. We're going to flat the 3 and we're going to flat the 7. So that's 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. That's your C minor 7. Then we want to go our C diminished 7. So once again, we're going to flat 2 notes. We're going to flat the 3 and we're going to flat the 5th. That's our C diminished 7. And I'm going to give you some more pointers on that in a second here. That's our C diminished 7. Now our C augmented 7 is right here. The C, E, A flat, and then we have the B. Now, a really easy way to find this, a lot of times, I tell a lot of people, this is what I did early on when I wanted to play that C augmented, is that I would just play the 1 with a 3 major chord. And that's an easy way to find it. But again, all we're doing is we're playing the 1, the 3, the raised 5th, and the major 7. Okay? Now, we can also play this, we can also flat the 7. Okay, so you can play the major 7, or you can play the C augmented 7 where we just flat the 7. Okay, so that's a raised 5th and a flattened 7. So these are all primary chords, concepts you need to understand, things that you can do. We'll talk later about maybe how to use some of this stuff. But right now, you want to know how to execute it. How do I create it? Once I create it, I want to practice it so I can get it underneath my fingers. So let's do a C major 7. You want to know that. A C dominant 7. We flat the 7. Let's play a C minor 7. Let's play a C diminished 7. Let's play a C augmented major 7. And let's just play a C augmented 7. So these are your primary chords within your 7ths, all right? And you want to have these, you know, very, very important, you know, that you know, not just able to kind of, you know, call them out, but that you're able just to play them. Now, real quick, I told you I was going to give you a secret on your diminished chord, okay? One of the great things about the diminished 7 chord is that once you get into other keys, what you're going to find is this chord repeats on the basis of its inversion. So what makes this a C diminished 7 is that the C is at the bottom. But what if I inverted the same chord? It becomes an E flat diminished 7. Let me invert it again. It becomes a G flat diminished 7. I invert it again. It becomes an A diminished 7. And we're back to the C diminished 7. And you want to know that because when you play this diminished 7 chord, it becomes a shortcut. Once you know these inversions, it's like with this one chord, I'm learning 4 at the same time. And it's really just about knowing what's the bass note, because whatever the bass note is, it's what you call it. If it's a C on the bass, you call it a C diminished 7. If it's an A on the bass, it's an A diminished 7. G flat diminished 7. E flat diminished 7. And what's beautiful about it is you can begin to do what another concept we talk about is substitutions. You can do bass substitutions because these are so closely connected. But I just wanted to kind of show you that, because that's one of our secrets that we use in gospel music. Like, we just recycle this. Like, once we learn this diminished chord, you know, somebody sings a diminished 7, you know, with just learning one of them, we pretty much now know all of them. Okay, so wanted to you know, give you that. You want to know your primary chords. It's so very, very important. All right, so the next essential concept in the key of C that you have to learn, must have, is your diatonic chords. So why don't we just talk about that? So we have 1 is major. So 1 is major. So that would be for key of C. The 1 is C. So we would typically play a major chord. 2 is minor. So 2 is the D. So D minor. You want to know that D minor chord. And you notice I'm playing that in multiple inversions, you know, very important, but I won't cover the inversions right now. But 2 is minor. You want to know this. 3. I'm going to give you 2 options on this. 3 is minor. So we got E, E, G, B. You want to know this. So that's E minor. But we can also, on the 3, I do this a lot in gospel music, I play the 1 on the 3. Of course, it all depends on the song, but for me, a lot of times I find myself on the 3 playing the 1 chord, which would be the C. Where in the key of C, it'll be C. So just know I have the option of playing the 3 minor, or I can play the 1 major. Okay, over that 3 bass. 4 is major. It's a major chord. 5 is major. So the 4 would have been an F major. The 5 is a G major. You want to know this. Multiple inversions. A major, or A minor, it was a 6. So 6 is minor. And you want to know that. And in gospel music, that gets pretty consistent. A lot of times you're going to that minor chord on the 6. B. 7 is diminished. So 7 is diminished, but a lot of times I find myself on the 7 playing the 5 chord. So that's your option there. So you want to know the diminished, the 7 diminished, which would be a B diminished here. And I already covered how to create the diminished chord. You flat the 3, you flat the 5. Or you can play the 5 chord. Key is C, the 5 is G, and we can play a G chord over that. So, and we're back home at the 1. So very, very, very important that you know these diatonic chords. Again, 1 major, 2 minor, 3 minor, or 3 with the 1 on top, 4 major, 5 major, 6 minor, 7 diminished, or 7 has the 5 chord up top, and then we're back at the 1. Okay, so we definitely want to make sure that we have our diatonic chords. Okay, so let's get with the chord progressions. I want to show you a few chord progressions that you just have to have. So the first one, of course, is the 2-5-1. So we're still looking at the key of C. So 2 is D, G is the 5, and then the C is the 1. Now remember, we get that from the major scale. One of the things we said was, you know the major scale, don't just know the notes, but know the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 or 8 for the octave. So 2, 5, 1. So remember when we talked about diatonic chords, we said that the 2 is minor. So the 2 minor, which is a D minor. Then on the 5, we have a G. Now we could play this straight, but we want to play the dominant 7. And remember, we said the dominant 7 is the flat 7. So the flat 7 of G would be what? So G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The flat 7 would be F. So we'll play a F, or we'll play a G dominant 7 chord, but we're going to play it we're going to play it right here, okay? So we're going to play it with the F at the bottom, B here, and we're going to play the D here. So we did 2, 5, and then we're at the 1. C, E, G, C. Okay? So what I want to show you a 2-5-1 just a little bit fatter, because that can get boring, you know, just playing that. So why don't we give you something just a little fatter? 2, 5, 1. So let me give you that 2. This is a D minor 9. So you have a D, you have the F, A, C, E, 2. And the good thing about this minor 9 chord when you play it in this inversion, so you just play it with the F at the bottom, all you need to do is you need to move the 2 middle notes half steps down. So the 2 middle notes are A and C, and they'll go down to A flat and B. So we're just moving them half steps down. So it'll sound like this. 2, 5. I said that 5 chord sounds like. And that's a really nice chord. And remember, to get the chord, all we did was we moved the A and the C down half steps. So 2, we're going to change the bass to a 5. And on the 1, we'll just play this C chord, but we'll just add the 2. So that's C in the bass. The 2 is right here. 5, 1. That's a nice chord. You can also play it here, where we have the C, the 1, the 5, the 1, 2, 5, and then we have the 1, okay? So all together, 2, 5, 1. All right, so that's your 2-5-1. Why don't we talk about a 7-3-6? That's another popular progression. Now this progression gets you to the 6, because whenever we talk about chord progressions, the final note or the final number tells us what our destination is. You know, a progression is taking us somewhere. So 7-3-6 tells us that we have the 7, the 3, and then we have the 6. So let me just give you the primary 7-3-6 that every gospel musician needs to know. So let me give you that. B, A, D, F, 7, 3, E, A flat, C, E, G, 3, and then we'll do 6. And you want to know this 6 chord. This is a major. This A minor 9. You want to know this. You want to know this way of playing this chord, because we use this a lot in gospel music. A, G, B, C, E. So the 7-3-6. Okay. So I showed you a 2-5-1. I showed you a 7-3-6. Now let me give you a 5-1-4 chord progression. So do 5-1. This is another one that's big for gospel music. 5-1-4. Give you the 5, G, F, A, B flat, D, 5, 1, C, E, A, B flat, D, 4, F, E, G, A, C. So all together, 5-1-4. So you definitely want to have that. 5, 1, 4. Now, a lot of times what we do in gospel music is we'll put that together. We'll do a 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, 4 chord progression. All right, 7, 3, 6. So 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, 4. All right, and we're going to use a lot of the same chords that I just broke down. So on the 7, 3, 6, we got 7. You already know this. 3. I've already shown you this. 6. Now, one thing you don't know yet is the 2 chord. Now, to get to the 2, all we're going to do is go to a D bass, and we're just going to take we're going to take this G and we're going to drop it at a half step. So we're going to do 6, 2. So remember, from this A minor 9, all we're going to do to get to the 2 is we're going to lower the G down to half step. So, and then we're going to do the 5, 1. You already know this one. 5, 1. I broke that down. 4. So anytime somebody says, give me 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, 4 chord progression, you know it. There's some songs in gospel music that's built exclusively off of that progression. So that's why it's so important to know it. But now you have a route to get you, to the 4 if you ever need to get to the 4. You can get there from a 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, 4, or you can just get there, from a 5, 1, 4. Or you can kind of mix the progression up. So instead of doing 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, 4, you could just go 2, 5, 1, 4. If you wanted to, you can kind of just sneak in there, as you see fit. But you definitely want to know that one. Let me give you one last progression. It's the 3, 6, 2 progression. So 3, 6, 2. All right. So why don't we do a 2-note chord on our left hand, and then we're going to play a 5 minor in our right hand. Okay. So we have D, G, B flat. We have the 3 with its tritone harmony, and tritone. So let's say we're in the key of E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, flat to 5, and you have the tritone harmony of the key of E. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the 5 minor, and we're going to play this tritone in our left hand. So that's our 3. Our 6 is going to be here. Now, if I was on the organ, I would probably play that A bass. That's the bass. You don't always have to play the bass, but if you do, your A is your bass. So you have A, D flat, G in your left hand. You have a straight F chord in your right, C, F, A. So altogether that was 3, 6. Now we're going to do something different now. We're going to play a two-handed chord. All we're going to do is we're going to play the D, the F, and the A. And we're going to play a C chord in our right hand. That gives us a minor 11 chord. So you got 3, 6, 2. Or if you feel like you can get that with one hand, you can do that. So you can go 3, 6, 2. So some of you have, bigger hands. You want to just play that whole minor 11 chord. If you feel like you can get it. But that's another important one to have. 3, 6, 2. That's another way of playing it where you don't play the A, you just play the C chord and you play this F. A lot of people will play it like that. I typically don't use that voicing. I typically always play the A in there. Okay, so 3, 6, 2. And these are the chord progressions that you just have to know. These are must-haves when it comes to gospel music. Okay, so let's talk about some walk-ups. essential walk-ups that are in gospel music. And the first ones that I'll show you is what I like to call the fourth walk-ups, where you walk from, you know, one to its relative fourth, or to its perfect fourth. So within the key of C, we have a couple of these. We have C to F. We have D to G. We have E to A. We also have G to C, that's the 5 to the 1, and we have the A to the D, which is the 6 to the 2. So why don't I just show you these? You know, these are must-haves. Okay, so here we go. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4. So all we did was we just walked to the 4. We didn't skip any notes in the scale. We did 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a 1 to 4 walk. So we'll do C, G, C, E. We'll do a dominant 7 chord over the 2. So I'm telling you that because I want you to remember that when you get to other keys. But we're playing the D, F, B flat, D. So we're playing a 1 over 3, which is 3 is the E, G, C, E. So, and then we're on the 4. So you want to know that 4. That's the F, A, C, F. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So why don't we just do this? We'll do 1 to 4. Now let's go 3 to 6. Okay, so let's just walk from E to A. So we'll do. So here we're gonna go. So we have an E chord, E, B, E, A flat. G flat, A, D, G. G flat. So A flat, B, E, A flat. So, and then we're going to take the A minor chord. We have A, E, A, C. That's a very, very important one to have. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to walk from 3 to 6. Now let's walk from 6 to 2. And that one is like this. So here we're going to play an A7. We have A, G, D flat, and we have the E. Or we can call that a C sharp since we're playing the A chord. But we're going to play a B, G, B, D. So this is the A one. We have this D flat, G, D flat, E. Then we have a 2 minor chord, which is a D minor. D, A, D, F. So the first one from C to F, or from 1 to 4. We're going to do 3 to 6. We're going to do 6 to 2. So now we got 2. Let's do 2 to 5. So let's doing a straight D major chord. D, A, D, G flat. E, G, C, E. G flat, A, D, G flat. So, and then we have the A. G, B, D, G. Okay, so you got that one. Now we're gonna do a 2 to the 5, but before I'm sorry, a 5 to the 1. But before I do that, let me do them all together. You have 1 to 4, 3 to 6, and this is how it should sound. 6 to 2, 2 to 5. And then a 5 to 1. Let me give you the 5 to 1. G, D, G, B, A, C, F, A. We have B, D, G, B. And then we need the 1, C, E, G, C. Okay? And so that is essential. That's the 1 to 4 walk up. And we did that within the context of the key of C. So we did 1 to 4, we did 3 to 6, 6 to 2, 2 to 5, 5 to 1. All right. And you want to make sure that you work that out, within the key of C, because we're just focusing in on C for right now. These are bridges to get you to each of those points. So if you need to get to a 1, you can walk there from a 5 now. You can go if you needed to. If you needed to get to a 4, you know how to walk there from a 1. If you needed to get to a 6, you know how to walk there from a 3. So when you're playing songs, if you ever need some changes to kind of fill in space, now you have these basic changes that you can kind of work with. Another walk up that's very important that you need to have in gospel music is just the 3 that walks up to the 5. And this is in the traditional gospel setting, but it sounds like this. Now this is in traditional gospel, this is in shout music that you'll use this. And we're just going 3, 4, flat 5, 5. Okay? So we're just gonna play a 1 chord over the 3. So we have a 3, C, E, G. We can play this other C if we want to. So we can do something like that. We're gonna play a 4 chord. F, C, F, A, C. So we have, and we're gonna play the flat 5, we're gonna play that diminished. So remember I showed you this diminished chord, G flat. It's a G flat diminished, which is the same as C diminished. Remember, we just call it on the basis of the bass. Wherever the bass note is, that's what we call it. So we're calling it a G flat diminished because that's the bass note. But we have we have C, we have the E flat, G flat, A, C. So, and we have the 5 chord, G, C, E, G, C. All right, and so that works. That's a must-have. So let's say we're playing shout music. I would use it right there. I would use that on shout music. I would use it if I'm playing a song like "This Is the Day," "What a Mighty God We Serve." Any song like that, you typically use that particular walk up. So it's just good for you to get that underneath your fingers now. All right, so that was that 3 to 5 walk up. Okay, I want to show you a movement that we do a lot of times for introduction. So when we bring a song in, so why don't I just give it to you? Probably you've heard that quite a bit, probably, but you want to make sure you have that. So we're gonna play a 1 in the bottom and a 1 up top. We have a C and we have a C, and we're gonna play a 7. So in our left hand, we're gonna start on the 7, and we're gonna go. So we're gonna start. We're gonna keep the 1, and we're gonna go 7, 6, flat 6, 5. That's the whole move in our left hand. Now we also want to get used to gracing into the 7, so we're going to grace off of the 6 to the 7. We'll do something like that. So see how I'm gracing using my index finger to grace note as a grace note on the A to the B. So, and then I'm just doing the fall. Okay. Now in our right hand, what we're doing, we're playing 5, 4, 2, 3. So we're keeping a 1 up top, and in between we're playing 5, 4, 2, 3. Now, just as we did the A as the grace note in our left hand, we're going to do the F as a grace note in our right hand. So see how that works? we're gonna keep that C up top. Okay, so all together it sound like this. And we're just ending on the basic C chord. So again, real slow. And you can use that to start a song. You can use that to close a song. You know, you're playing behind somebody and they look at you, I'm going to sing this song in the key of C. You know, you'll sit down with the keys and you'll give them that and they'll know exactly, you know, where they need to be at. You know, that's a very, very important move that you need to have in your library. All right, I want to show you the walk up from the 2 that you hear in gospel music a lot. With something like this. You'll go to the 5, but this is what it sounds like. This is a staple in gospel music. So let me give you that. It's on the 2. We have an F, C, F. We have a D, A flat, C, F. And we're gonna go to the 3. We're gonna play a 1 chord over the 3, which is, we have an E, which is the bass, and we have the G, C, E. We have an F in our bass, which is the F, and then we have the minor, which is the A flat, C, F. And then we're gonna play the 5 chord, or the 5 bass with a 1 chord. G, C, E, G. And you wanna have this. So I'm gonna show you what I did on the 5 chord with this. I'm just gonna play a straight 5 chord. Dominant 7, G, B, G, F, B, D to the 1. So ba 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 ba. And if you want that rhythm I just did da da. So that's all I'm doing. Da da da. C, E, G, C. So da da da. F, B, D. And that's just some extra candy you can throw in it. Da 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 da. Okay, but this is the main thing. And you want to have it in multiple places. So right now I'm starting with this inversion, the F minor. I want to be able to play it also here. So this is starting with a C, F, B flat. So E, C, E, G. Same inversion. So real slow, starting with the D. Next one. Next one. Next one. You know. Or you won't be able to do this one. So that one real slow. Okay? And this is something that you want to have. You want to have this in all 12 keys. But especially in the key of C. And you want to be able to attack it anywhere. I probably do this one more often than not. But I still, if I needed to, I can do it here or here. You know, but it's just something you want to make sure that you don't have, and you can just pull it out anytime that you need it. Okay, the 9th thing that I think is very important that you need to have if you are, going to play gospel piano is you need to have a set of preacher chords. You need to have a set of preacher chords, that you can go to whatever key you're in. And the basic pattern I'll use is I'll do something like 1, 3, 4, flat 5, 5, 1. Something like that. Very, very, basic. So something like that. 1, 3, 4, flat 5, 5, and then 1. So let me give you that. On the 1 chord, what I'm playing is this. We have a C, G, B flat, D, F, A, C. Now I already know what somebody's gonna say to me. They're gonna say, "Man, that chord is way too big." So how we can kind of make it work for us is we can just look at what are the important notes in that chord. I would say this D minor within the chord is very important, and this B flat bass. So if you can even play this D minor 7, and you can play this C in your left hand, you have the essence of the chord. Now, if you feel like you can't play that D right there, you can just play the F. You have the C and a B flat, and you can just play an F chord. So you can just play a 4 chord. So it doesn't sound as full, but it still works. Okay, so you can play the D minor in your right hand, and play the C and the B flat in your left, or you can just play the 4 chord, the F chord. So it doesn't have to be this chord. You can kind of make it work for your hand size. I know you can get this triad, and you may be able to get this stretch where you're just stretching from the C to the B flat. Okay, so that's your 1 chord. On your 3 chords, you just have a C over that. So you have a E, C. You have a E, C, E, G. You have the C. Now what you can do is also play this tritone in here, which is the B flat. Or what you can do is, instead of playing the tritone, you can play the raised 5th. You know, where you just have the A flat there. You know, so that's an option. But I would say for right now, let's just play the 3 and let's play the B flat. Let's play the straight C chord. And again, if you feel like that C stretch is too big for you, just play that E, G, C. Now, I want to point out to you that I'm trying to keep the melody up top at all times. So we had 1, 3, 4. It's like an F9 right here. You have the F, you have the C, E flat, G, A, and you have this the C. And I love this voicing. You know, something that you kind of use, get to real easy. And again, you still have the melody up top. So now let's do the diminished chord. So we have the G flat, C, E flat, G flat, A, C. So we went from 4, flat 5 to the diminished. Now what we can do is we can play the 5 chord like this. We have the G, B, E flat, E, G, B flat. And what do we have here? We basically just have an E flat with an added 2, but we have that B right there. Sorry, I don't know if you noticed I should have. So we have that chord right there. And then we're back at home, which, you know, was that 4 chord, and maybe we're just playing the 1 and the dominant 7 in our left hand. Whatever you feel like you're able to reach. And you see what I'm doing on my left hand? I can look at the right hand and I can just add notes to it if I want to. Right now I'm adding a G in the middle. You know, this is for you guys maybe want to stretch out a little bit. So the whole sequence was just 1, 3, 4, flat 5, 5, and then you're back at 1. Now I'll just add one more chord to this. I'll matter of fact, I'll add 2 more to kind of give you just a variety. What you can do is you can go 1, the same chord that I gave you. You can go 3. You can go 4, flat 5. You can go 2. 5 to the 1. Now on that 2 chord, I played this chord. This is something you can kind of throw on, but you have the D, the G flat, C, F, A flat, C. And if you don't want to play this G flat, you can just play the D and the C. All right, and then we can go to the. You already have this chord. Okay. So I'll add one more chord to it. This is going to add some more flavor to it. So we can go 1. We can go 3. We can go 4. We can go flat 5. We go dominant 7. So that dominant 7 sounds really good. Now all we're going to do is we're playing the dominant 7 in the bass with the B flat, and basically all we want to do is we just want to play a 4 chord over that. Again, I want to keep the C up top, but what's kind of adding body to it is my left hand. I'm playing it F, G, A, and I'm playing that B flat in the bottom. Now you don't have to play all that in your left hand if you don't feel like you can get it. Just go with the B flat and maybe the F, and you're gonna still basically get the same effect. And we're just playing a C, A, F, C, and then I'm doing the same chords that I showed you already: 2, 5, 1. So those are some basic preacher chords. So when he's preaching, you want to play the pauses. He said, he might say, for God so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son. Boom. That whosoever believed in him, boom, shall not perish. Let's go to the flat 7, but have everlasting life. He might get into the say yeah, boom. Say yeah, you back at 1. And these are chords you can kind of wrap around, and you kind of play different rhythms. Also, I showed you the blues scale. You can you can throw that blues scale in there just to kind of add to it. So when you're playing on the 2, 5, 1, you kind of throw that in there like that. But that's kind of beyond the scope of what I want to talk about today. I really just wanted to give you, that basic preacher chord route that you can kind of play with and you can kind of master and really kind of develop. All right, so you also want to have a shout pattern. You always want to have a shout pattern. This isn't a shout video, but I just want you to be functional. So if somebody goes into a shout, I want you to be able to play something. So let's just show you the bass line. That's the basic shout bass line. So you have 1, 3, 4, flat 5, 5, and then you're going to jump to the 6, and it's going to go up chromatically to the 1. That just means in half steps. Boom, 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 boom. And I'm not doing any specific fingering. I'm just doing whatever's natural at the time. I'm doing it real slow so you can catch that. Going with that pinky, ring, pointer finger, index finger, thumb on the 6, middle finger, index finger, and that's my fingering for right now. But it changes depending on what's going on. So also know that in octave, so be able to play like this. Especially if you plan on getting on the organ eventually. That'll serve you well to be able to run that with like a single, like a single note bass line, but also with like an octave sound. So you want to know that with both. The other thing I just want to show you is just what I call the shout chord, and it's the same as the preacher chord I gave you. B flat, D, F, A, C. So basically all I do is if you can do that, you can play shout music anywhere, you know. It might get boring after a while, but if you're just starting out, this is perfect. So that chord is B flat, D, F, A, C. So for those of you, I can't reach that chord. I can't reach it comfortable. You can just play this. It's like a B flat chord with a C on top. So it's the same thing. You know, but I like that. I just kind of like that sound to it. All right, so you can mix it however you need to mix it. You can also play. You can play this chord in there to kind of make it kind of tight. So. That says F, A, B flat, C. So I don't want you to lock and say I gotta play the rhythm he's playing. This is just an example of a rhythm. So bop, 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 bop. The main thing is that I'm holding the chord down on the C, on the G, and everything else is just rhythm in between. Bop, 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 bop. You know, so I'm just doing bops, stop, bops, stab, 1, 2, stab, 1, 2, stab, 1, 2, stab, 1, 2. You know, so it's just something that you can kind of incorporate. But it's just like that basic, you know, component that you want to have to your shout music. All right, so that's just number 10. You know, work on these things. These are things you must have, and you need to have them in all 12 keys. I really hope you enjoyed going through all of those concepts. I encourage you to watch this video over and over again. Make sure you get them. If you feel like you got them in the key of C, I encourage you to take it up to the key of D flat, maybe down to the key of B, maybe a fourth over from the key of C, maybe to the key of F. But just make sure you're working through these concepts in multiple keys. I really believe that this is going to help you. Also, if you feel like you want more training, we have a special offer for our Gospel Foundational Bundle. If you want to learn more of the basics of playing gospel piano by ear, whether you want to play in church, on stage, or in the studio, I want you to make sure you take a look at your email. We're doing a massive 75% off sale, and you can check that out just in case you want to take your playing to the next level. But again, I want to thank you for taking time to view this training, Gospel Piano Essentials Masterclass. I really hope that it helped you out. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. I look forward to hearing from you real soon. Thanks again.